Hey, what is up everyone? It's Rich. Alright, welcome to a new video. This should be fun, and I think this will be something that a good portion of people out there probably have never poured over real closely. This is I would call him like a fine art illustrator, but he was a concept artist also, or maybe still is, Android Jones. So, we'll get into this in a second. I'm going to go full screen mode, and you're in for a real treat. This guy is amazing. He's really like kind of one of the visionary concept artists to come out of the late 90s, early 2000s. And I first became aware of his work on conceptart.org and talking about it yesterday in the Marko Djurdjevic video. It made me think of his work. So I know that early on this stuff looks more like 3D models, but you'll see as I move along, he's a really good illustrator. There's no two ways about it. He uses a lot of very interesting techniques, and does these highly sort of psychedelic pieces. But he used to work in Corel Painter, and what he would do is he would create shape brushes. And he had at the back in the day there's a DVD tutorial you can get. It's a little hard to find. I bought it online years ago, but he would create pattern brushes and just basically layer and layer and layer over his work, with these different basically shapes, geometric shapes, and would just do these incredible pieces. So this is a little different than some of the stuff you're about to see, but settle in, hit that like button, and let's do it. All right. So this is kind of what his early work looked like. But again, he's a really good artist. And when I say that, I mean not just that he can take digital tools and use them, but he really can draw. And that's why this stuff ends up being extra phenomenal. Because he's not limited by sort of a gap between his mediums that he uses and then his ability to draw. But like, look at this stuff that he does. These are all little pattern brushes that he created. You'll see this effect quite a bit in his stuff, and he probably in some ways, I mean, I would only be speculating because this really does have almost like a Struzan type feel. You can see that it sort of falls over the planes of the face, so it's not a flat texture that he's laying over this. He's understands form, and he's able to paint over form. Very important. Because I know when people started using textures and comic book coloring, it was this sort of shallow approach to it. This is pretty cool. This is like all like in like ZBrush or a 3D program, you get those different patterns. But yeah, they would lay textures over stuff, but they weren't conforming it to any sort of three-dimensional form. And that's really problematic, because you immediately flatten out the line art. So, you always hear me talking about wireframes and stuff like that. It's because I am knowledgeable of this stuff, on top of that I've worked on real anatomy. I've looked at comics and this stuff. And it really helps your mind understand that all this stuff is three-dimensional shapes. It's all geometry. And, I was talking about lighting. Here, let's turn this to grayscale for a second. I'll, turn the levels down just so you can see what I'm talking about. But when you start to pull it dark, and there's a real light source, and we're talking about planes, do you see how it hits this because this sticks out farther? It hits this because it sticks out farther. This is the lower lid. It protrudes further than the eye. This gets it. This is just a little hot spot, or it could be a reflection on the eyeball. Lower lid, or like underneath of the eye is catching it because it's such a big chunk of meat. And then this and this and this. And I had mentioned in the Djurdjevic video that he had a really strong light source hitting here, but he didn't have it continue on this part or even the lip. It's literally exactly what I was talking about. If you go back and look, this is what he was missing, but he also was doing it out of his mind. Meaning, out of his imagination. But you still want to keep those light sources fairly consistent. But you can You can do little spotlights. I think of them as like if you had a little tiny flashlight and you were shining it just on like this area, then it would only cover so much ground, but you want to try to keep it consistent. But this is called Tigress. I'd never seen this piece before. It's very, very cool. But again, you can just see all this pattern and texture that he does. And, you know, it was just incredible. And you have to understand that this guy was doing this in like, 2000, 2002, 2004, when people weren't really getting this wild with the digital tools yet. And I'm sure someone could fish out an example of someone that maybe was, but look at this. All these like little interlocking things. And then these are like little, it's a different pattern. This is a different pattern. It's really phenomenal, Look at this. Beautiful waves over this. The guy's nuts. I mean, he's not doing this to do things faster. He's got a real level of commitment that he does this stuff. I mean, this is just beautiful. Look at that. Oh, this. Again, I got all these scans offline, so I did the best that I could. I would love to get an art book of his, like a big, huge coffee table. But look at how cool this is. This tiger is just amazing. Really, really gorgeous. You'll see little pieces of influence. I mean, whenever you do this, it's going to kind of get referenced probably to Alex Gray or the Tool Art guy. Another artist that I see in his work, and I was trying to remember the name off the top of my head. I think it's Erwin Dale. He does very, very surreal landscape paintings that were kind of influential, not kind of, but like to the style guides of Samurai Jack. If someone knows the name of that artist, let me know, because I was trying to remember what it is. I actually follow a fan page of it on Instagram, but I've been collecting JPEGs of that artist forever, but not the one that does Samurai Jack, but the one that influenced those landscapes. I think his name is Erwin, like Erwyn. I could be wrong though. I thought his last name was Arendale, like ER something, but I googled it. But look at this. This is crazy. It all looks like little buildings. There's a really great piece that he did that's coming up. Look at this. Looks like hands. Do you see that? Isn't that wild? I'm telling you guys, there's a million incredible artists out there that you can enjoy. And I get disappointed when I hear people complaining about, some comic book sucking. Who fucking cares? Look at this shit. Get over it. Forget about the crap. Support what's good, what's great, what the best art is. Buy a book, from one of these artists, or buy prints from these artists, Your money speaks. That's the bottom line. This is so kick-ass. Really great color palette on this too. I love how warm this is in here with the, I don't know, it's like umbers and siennas, and then this. It's all really cool. When Android Jones was on concept art, there was this huge surge of incredible talent that was there. These like mega pros. They're pretty much like, in terms of artists, they were gods on earth. There was like, I don't even know how many of them. And then the Padawans were there. Miles Johnson, who's huge now, the guy's got close to 1 million followers on Instagram. He's amazing. But Miles was a teenager back then, and I was just kind of trying to learn to draw, and you had guys that were complete visionaries doing work over there. And Andrew did, I think, a year's worth of self-portraits. Like, most of them were in pencil, I think, over a year. I could be wrong. I tried to find him. I think I saved him somewhere. I saved a bunch of them. But yeah, he would post a self-portrait every day, and he did it for, I think, full year. It was pretty incredible. This is really neat. Some of these I could only get as big of a scan as possible. And when I'll come across that tree thing that I was talking about, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's funny because one of his paintings has a little bit of a Thomas Kincaid vibe, which is sort of funny, but it is sort of cheesy as Thomas Kincaid's paintings are sort of portrayed. There are elements of them that are actually kind of cool. He's not a horrible artist by any means, but you know, he's an easy target for that kind of stuff. But you know, this is really, really cool. Let's zoom in on this a little bit. See all those beautiful patterns? Almost looks like money. And you know, man, look at that. It's so beautiful. Uh-oh, weed. But yeah, isn't it incredible? So hopefully there's a bunch of people that haven't seen this guy's stuff, because I'm sure if you're into it at this point, you're gonna have a fun rest of this video. I wanted to do something a little different. Oh, this is all pot leaves. It's funny. She's like the weed woman. I was zoomed in too much. I wasn't really paying attention. I was looking more at the at her than all this stuff. It's kind of funny. Look at that. That is so freaking cool. Isn't that amazing? That's so good. This guy does raves and he paints live. So like a DJ will be playing and he gets on his computer and they project it on huge screens. And back a while ago, I mean, he would travel all over and do that and just create art while everybody was dancing. It was like a dystopian future with live art, which I think is actually very, very cool. This is pre-Kim Jong-gi days, with him sort of, you know, doing like live performances of art being created. So that is really, really cool. Bada boom. Who has the best YouTube channel? You know, it's me. Forget about all these other channels. This is where you need to be. Look at that. Her eyes are awesome. He's that pattern again. But look at this. He's nuts. He really is. It's so crazy. Imagine seeing these in high res too. Oh my god. I wonder, God, he should really, like, I'm gonna look into it because he needs a freaking book. Her nose ring is crazy. Her lips are great too. It almost looks like he took a photo stat. I'm not saying that he did, but this almost looks like a photo that he's sort of done some cuts on and then blended it in and then peppered a little paint over it. But it could just be very well painted because the eyes don't really have that same vibe. And it's nice as these eyes are individually painted. I cannot stand when people flip images. I think that's the most lazy technique ever. I mean, I get it to create a level of balance in your piece, but do not clone one side to the other and have them match up. It's just like, you know, this kind of stuff. It's like, you see, it's all unique. I'm just doing you a favor. This is the stuff. Who is the artist that did this original style with these trees? I think it's Erwin Dell or something like that. He's great though. They're the most beautiful, and they're traditional paintings too, but it is awesome art. I've loved it for a bazillion years, and I've always forget his name, and then I'll find like a folder of it, or I'll find JPEGs in some random part of like an external hard drive, and I'll be like, ah, shit, this is the guy's stuff. And then when like I said, when I found him on Instagram or a page that sort of represents his art, I followed it. But they don't post frequently enough where you remember. But isn't that wild? It's got a little bit of a Gustav Klimt sort of thing, but you know, it's more incidental than anything. But I have a couple of beautiful Gustav Klimt books. I have one that's gigantic. It's as big as an artist edition. It's huge. It was like this big. It came in a huge box and stuff. I actually have two like that. I had gone into a store up in La Jolla and walked in, and I saw this behemoth of a book. I saved up for it, and I got it. This is really cool. But yeah, we could do a Klimt video sometime. It's got these huge fold-outs. It's pretty nuts. That's expensive, though, now, because it's out of print, and the one that I have is like, I don't even know. It's a lot. It wasn't that much when I got it, to be clear, though. Man, this is awesome. Look at that. You can see he can paint, you know, and draw. This almost has like a Frazetta vibe, the ferocity of it. And then there's beautiful trees again. Huh? You can have some fun in digital. Just gotta do it right. I love that little bit of the flecks of kind of gold and yellow through there. This is nice too. Oh yeah, this is cool. Oh, let me get out full screen for a second. I don't know, some of these files are, they're predetermined to have the extras on it. So this is pretty wild. Again, this is that sort of 3D geometry thing. There's, I can't think of what you call it, but like there's different, like almost channels that you can go in where it sort of separates the way that you view it. But he does it. He uses it in a pretty interesting way. That was an earthquake. We've been having little earthquakes here, on top of the fact that the world is ending outside. Hey, we had one, I think, the day before yesterday. Oh, it's so fun living here. It's so exciting. Oh, look at that. That is so awesome. Man, that is great. I turn you guys on to some good stuff, right? And I know that there's tons of people out there that know his work. You'd have to. This is awesome. I've got a really good one planned for this afternoon. It should be fun. What was interesting is that Berserk video crushed everything. And I don't even know that much about Berserk yet. But that Berserk video got like 7 times. Oh, no. 6 times the amount of views that my normal videos get uploaded. And fast, too. So that's kind of interesting, and I'm a huge fan of manga. I'm more, I don't have a huge knowledge base on it, but I'm definitely interested in learning. I was checking out a book last night about climbing mountains in the snow. I can't think of the artist's name off the top of my head, but it was funny. I had watched interviews with him a few months ago, and he was like jogging. Someone will know who I'm talking about. I think it's someone recommended that I check out his stuff, and I had already checked out a different book, but it is really, really cool. Like, I never thought I would be into a book about a guy who rock climbs and then wants to climb like the highest mountain in the world, but it looks amazing. It's such a weird concept for a comic book, but oh my god, it is great. And then there was another one that I saw last night that looked really, really good. And somebody had mentioned Jep. I looked all over and I could not find JEP. But I thought that I had heard something like that. I was wondering if you did a typo. Is it Jed or Jeb? Let me know if you watch this video. You probably won't, but this is all very Chuck Close. I love Chuck's work. Chuck does gigantic portraits. When he started out, he would do them in black and white, and they were very, very photorealistic. And then Chuck got, I believe, either multiple sclerosis or like Lou Gehrig's disease, and he's pretty much handicapped, and he paints with these shapes now, but he's incredible. And yeah, he does these huge paintings now, and I mean, he's a wealthy enough guy where he actually has them on a like a, I don't even know what you call it, like a, it goes into the floor and it can lift up, but he still does huge paintings, and it's really, really incredible. But it's all like colorful shapes, but he's got such a good eye for value. He's able to make it work. I really wanted to find a bigger scan of this piece because I've always liked it, but this was as big as I could find online. But it's pretty cool. Cool shot, cool angle. His little signature there is awesome too. This fish is cool. It's just fun stuff, you know. This is a different artist. So this is, let me get out full screen. This is Federico Beber, but I found it when I was looking at the art, and I thought it was an interesting enough piece to throw in. Kind of a different approach to it, because this almost looks like a photo, but it's pretty cool. I like it. So I thought I would just throw that in. It's pretty neat. Caught my eye. But see, this is what I would do, is I would look this guy up and save like every cool JPEG that I could find of his work. That's how I roll. This stuff is all cool. This is nice. Looks like Robin. This is cool. His watermark is awesome too. Stuff is all really interesting. Man, he's got so many layers. He almost used this effect on the snake, like that scaling thing. But yeah, once he creates these patterns, he's able to just have these huge catalogs, like you would have custom brushes. It's the same thing. I mean, he's just created all these shape custom brushes. And he really, really knows how to manipulate them and rotate them and have them, you know, do his bidding. And then he just layers the stuff on in these very crazy, surreal ways. That's nice. There was one piece that I saw that had like lace on it. Like he had scanned a piece of lace and then used that as a very, very like transparent layer. This is cool. This is wild right here, man. This looks like 3D. It's really, really cool though. Look at this. Man, that's so cool. Again, you can see the 3D in it. But I like it though. I mean, it's like he's trying to hide it. It's just a thing. That's really cool. It's funny that he's leaving the geometry stuff on it. It looks funny, but it like kind of works too. He just goes with his instinct. If he thinks it looks cool, man, that is awesome. That is so cool. This guy's got no fear. Man, that is great. I love seeing the underdrawing stuff, like all this too. It really makes it trippy. It's like he's dissecting reality or something. Like reality is crumbling away and you're starting to see the understructure of what everything is, which is just math. This is, I think, an earlier piece. Man, that's so nuts. This almost looks like the Finch horse from his Gnomon DVD. It's funny. I'd be curious of the timeline of when this was drawn, because Finch was a little shifty back in the day. He got caught. He got pegged more than once for swiping stuff. It could have just been an inspiration for it, but yeah, his Gnomon DVD, the horse looks very similar to that. This is a nice drawing. It reminds me a little of Ian McCaig. Not with all this detail though, but just okay, we could be getting close to the end here, so we'll start wrapping this up. This is really nice. It looks like it's a kind of a nod to the John Singer Sargent painting, the woman dancing sort of in Spain or wherever it is. She's in kind of a long gray room. It's sort of a longer piece. If you don't know John Singer Sargent, definitely look it up. It's Sargent, I believe. He's great. Wait, I think I have a Sargent book on my shelf. Do I? I think they're in my. I have a storage thing with them in it. Not storage room, but storage spot. Man, it's so cool. Her dress is really neat too. Look at this. This is magical. You could work for Disney. Oh, this is so cool. And the Herb Ryman guy that I was talking about in the other video kind of has stuff that looks a little tiny bit like this. It's traditional though. He was working in like the 50s. Yeah, probably the 50s. 50s and 60s, 70s for Disney. He did tons of concept art for the park. Rides and stuff like that. His stuff is so awesome. This is great colors though. Dang. Oh yeah. And this is all really cool. Oh yeah, this piece was neat. Yeah, that is really cool. Man, that is so awesome. Look at the mouth. I like the kind of soft blur on this stuff. And then all this is really, really cool. Man, that is great. It looks like glass almost. Isn't that cool? Oh man, you look at this. There's like a creepy little face there. Do you see creepy demon guy? Creepy demon guy. There's probably more. Oh, there is. Look at this. That's right here. It's hard to see. That's definitely like a drawing of something. It's like the head, the eyes, the ears, part of the chest, the belly. You can see it right there. It's not a coincidence. Man, that is great. Oh yeah, this is really crazy. What is that thing? Oh, I wish these were in high res. Come on, Andrew. We need an art book, yo. Wow, that's cool. The water plane. I like this too, these sort of stats of the wheat blended in. That's really cool too. The colors are great up here, man. You can see that 3D stuff in here. Looks good though, man. It looks really, really cool. It's very, very just like... I have to say overall too, his stuff has aged pretty well. Because, you know, when you're messing with this kind of cutting edge techniques, and these are all from probably a 15 to 20 year span, but you can kind of tell the earlier pieces. But overall, I mean, he did create a bit of a timeless look to the stuff. There's a few little spots where it might not. This is really cool, though. But yeah, hopefully you can get some ideas from this. You know, the chains. Chain brush. Let's put that in. The only thing that would make it better is if it actually rotated, though. He needs like, he should have created like 7 chain brushes so that some rotate and some are sideways, because like I said, I'm not a fan of when chain links all conveniently are at the side. I think it looks kind of cheesy, but it works for this because they're small enough that it just ends up being kind of more of a hum in the piece. But yeah, don't draw your chain links all sideways. This is cool. This had pretty dramatic lighting on it, and the glow and stuff like that. It's very, very cool. Skulls. It's like Kurt Russell. Is that Goldie Hawn? Has some fancy armor on. Wow, look at that. That is really neat. I love how it's layered there. But you know what I mean? Like, this could give you an idea for a comic book thing. Maybe you're going to do Captain America's armor and you want to do something different, or Thor, or whatever you're going to draw, some original character. But, you know, just seeing something like this, or this, could really add something to your vocabulary. So this is a pretty famous piece of his, and it made the rounds quite a bit. This is a detail on it. But, this was from quite a long time ago now. But you'll see the full piece is coming up. But it's... I can't remember what he was using this for, but... yeah, this is really nice. Oh, we'd seen this one before. This is the one with the lips. It's more of a full shot of it, though. That's what it was. This is like if Jack Kirby had digital tools at his disposal. Man, can you imagine? He would have gone crazy. This is a really interesting piece. As we zoom in, look what this is. This is a crowd of people and ambulances and like chaos going on. Cops are showing up. There's like, looks like maybe vehicles. This is on fire. Over here we have the other side. It's burning. Looks like they're standing off with each other. This could be a crowd of people. And then these are all cops. Yeah, these are all cops. You can see. Pretty incredible. It's going to be a brouhaha. Interesting, right? This is great right here. This little area. Here's the full piece. But yeah, he might... God, I wish I could remember. Maybe he did this as a demo. Her face is awesome. The whole thing is awesome. It's a great design. Great colors. I love this little splash of like kind of more saturated greens and it's a little bit of blue in there. I'm even getting kind of a pinkish vibe. It could, or maybe like a purple right there. I'm a little colorblind, but I make way. I think because I know what colors I don't see well, when it heads into that range, I can kind of just in my mind tell myself that it's another color. It's not too bad, but I definitely have it. This is cool. I bought a hat one time in a store years ago when I was a teenager at a surf shop. I could have swore it was blue. Everyone's like, why'd you get a purple hat? And I was like, what are you talking about? That was when I figured it out. That's funny. He created the walking man brush. Oh man, that's wild. I was almost like, oh, it is. It's like that's like a parrot. That looks like a little like a hummingbird or something. Man, that's cool. Anyone ever try stuff like this? Okay, that was it. All right, have a great day. I'll talk to you guys this afternoon, and yeah, hopefully that was something kind of fun and a little bit different. Gives you some ideas. That's what it's about. All right, later.